This video is made for adult collectors because something inferior beings.
You have such a beautiful world, filled with an abundance of life, savory, salvation. The galaxy will once again be yours to feast on, my master. I enjoy that look of confusion when an inferior being meets a higher power.
I've been waiting for this ever since they gave me the last 3 kits, and god damn does this not disappoint. Also, Cheetor's here too. Don't worry, I'm not gonna brush past Cheetor. He's amazing, but Scourge is just awesome. And I want to get this out of the way right now, because I know this is gonna be a debate in the comments. Studio Series Scourge isn't accurate to the film because development of his toy started about 2 years ago or so, and then the film's delay caused it to stay looking like concept art design. No, they couldn't wait to release the toy till after the film because the best way to sell the villain of your movie is right next to the movie's release. Either way, he was always going to look like the concept design. That's just always been a thing since the first film. I say this because I know someone in the comments is going to be like, well, if Yolopark can do it accurate, why can't Hasbro? This is releasing way after the film because it has a shorter development time due to it being like a model kit thing and stuff. Speaking of which, Yolopark did send this my way. They have a bunch of these things now and they're super cool kits, if you can call them kits. They also gave me a discount code which should work this time. It'll be on screen, so you can check them out. Links in the description down below. Don't forget to change the website's currency to yours before commenting to me saying they aren't $31 US, because they are. Thank you so much for sending this my way, and back onto the actual toy. Yes, they are $31 US, and they are this big, and they look this good. That's a steal to me, and shipping from Yolopark ain't that bad too. But are they really that good? I mean, for starters, look at them. They look so crisp and clean, but my Scourge has one itty bitty tiny problem. I didn't get a right knee pad. I'm not bummed. These things happen, and this was an early copy they sent me, so sorry this is late, Yolopark. I was off a week because of holidays. But I kind of feel bad asking for a free replacement part to a toy that I got for free, you know? Everyone I know who has this, who's actually bought it, has got both knee pads, and knowing Yolopark, they could easily just send me one if I really cared. Cheetor is cool though. I'll start with him fully. I love the paint. So these things you just build like a Bionicle, so assembly isn't that hard at all, and it really helps you understand where every articulation point is, because it's super posable, and I would hope so, being the most agile of the Maximals. The way they did the spots, the little fur details, and the nice break of different shades of gray really helped keep him from looking plain. I could probably complain about the lack of like depth and shading and wash on this guy, but it's a quote-unquote model kit. The whole point is that you do it yourself. Be careful with the hands though. The X23 claws are like very sharp, and I have stabbed myself with them. His spear is cool, though I find his grip on it a bit awkward. The way he holds it is the little square thing goes into his hand. There's no locking point, so it can slide a bit, and once it slides down, it becomes loose in his grip. But the visual appeal on this thing is just bonkers. Cheetor also comes with Bumblebee's guns and mask too, by the way. Kind of wish they were either included with Bumblebee or sold separately, because what if you don't want to buy Cheetor? But at least they give them to you. They're there. Now let's talk about the main event, Scourge. This thing looks fabulous. Like there's no other word to describe it. It really captures the intimidating look he had in the film with a good mix of both angles and curves and the little bits of red on the torso. Though I really wish there was an optional orange glowing chest for this guy. That would have looked epic. I could just paint it if I wanted to though. The back also looks nice, carrying over that muscular look he had in the film, and the painted spine details and the smokestacks, which are separate pieces. I love that. I very much enjoy how the shoulders are done too, with the double segmented shoulder covered things, and how they move separately so that the arms are covered almost all the time when they're in motion. You barely ever see the shoulder joint itself. Speaking of the arms though, I do have one issue with them. The hands. So the right hand is a hand, and the left is a claw thing, but he had a normal left hand in the film as well. I would have loved them to pack in a regular left hand, or like an entirely new arm, because his arm changes. But I think the reason why they didn't is because each arm has a different wrist joint. One side's a ball and the other side's a peg for the weapon. So you would have different levels of articulation on either side, and that might have been a bit awkward. You could make the argument that they could have been both ball joints, but popping off and on ball joints can deteriorate them faster. Mine also has a slightly loose torso side to side, which is pain, but still, he looks incredible. And next to their Prime, god damn. Can't wait to get that Rhinox so I can have Prime's weapons. The blade is cool. He can hold it or peg it into the arm, and it doesn't do the whole flippy outy thing that the leader does, probably because it didn't do that in the film, so why bother? But it's sturdy. I'm not worried about the blade snapping off, which is good. The mask can come off to expose his zombie-looking face with a big hole in it. Yeah, that's a tad ugly, but Yolopark thought of that too, so they give you a spare face that's clean in case you want to display the mask off. Just have a flat head screwdriver handy, because prying that thing off is such a pain. I'm scared I'm gonna break it, so you just wedge it in there and pop it off. He also has his cannon, and it looks great. Fits over the hand and looks like the claws collapsed. All he needs is a left hand. Now the main event on these is their articulation, and they could pull off some crazy shit. So while these guys have a lot of points of articulation and a lot of different things you can do, they are still essentially model kits plus, model kits Pro Max, whatever. I don't know. I hate Apple's naming conventions. They're model kits, basically. They have a constructed inner frame that's made out of like what feels like ABS, but at the end of the day, they are still model kits. So they're going to be a tiny bit wibbly in certain areas, so you have to be careful with. G.I. Joe Soundwave keeps bumping into the wall. You have to be careful with them. You don't have to be like super delicate with them. Like, I'm not exactly the most delicate on this guy, or this guy, because they're solid. But they're not also aimed towards kids, so just don't manhandle them is basically what I'm trying to say. Anyways, we'll do Cheetor first, because he's actually very, very neat. The head is on a double ball joint here and ball joint at the base of the neck, so you can pretty much do whatever you want. However, he can only look up that far, and I kind of wish he could go up a little bit higher, but he can look down all the way. The collar is also on a ball joint, but that's just to attach it there. It doesn't actually move. These shoulders, they're on a ball joint, so they can go around. These little bits can move. The shoulder pads can move. The arms can go out that far. They can also go down at the ball joint as well if you want to like shift them down slightly, if that's the thing you want to do. Bicep rotation, single jointed elbow bend that bends all the way. I think it's single jointed. Oh no, there's a double joint in there. It's just very, very subtle, but it does bend all that way. Ball joints at the wrist. The torso on Cheetor is slightly limited and also like weirdly shaped. Just these two side sections here, as you can see, it doesn't line up very well on mine. It's just strange. But you have a joint at the torso, and then you have a waist joint below, and the butt plate, his cheeks are articulated. Oh my god. His cheeks are articulated. So you can, he can do that. The hips can rotate forward that far, they can go back that far, they can go out that far, and then you got drop down hips, so they can go all the way up. You got thigh rotation, you have double jointed knee with a movable knee pad, and the ankles, this panel right here moves out of the way to accommodate the ankles going down. They can go up, and you have ankle pivot about that far. And these toe claws are also very pointy. But he's extremely posable. The only problem is, just due to the nature of the Rise of the Beast Cheetor design, his feet are skinny, and you cannot get this guy into a running pose. His feet are just too skinny for that, which is unfortunate, because he's Cheetor. You want him to run away from all of his problems. Here's Scourge. Scourge has a lot. Scourge has quite a bit of stuff going on. So the head is the same sort of double ball joint system. He can look up that far. He can look down that far. He also has an opening mouth, which is nice. The shoulders, there's a joint in here that is butterfly. Then there is a stick through here and then a second joint in the shoulder. So there's a lot of movement. Go up about that far. and it can go down that far. I like to keep them up here, and as you saw, these bits move out of the way to accommodate. This is on a hinge, this is on a ball joint. Bicep rotation, double jointed elbows. Now, one interesting thing to note is these pieces right here on both sides, they're split, and these are a slightly softer material, and that is so that when you bend the elbow, it's very difficult to see, but this panel right here moves out of the way of the elbow joint because it's a softer material, so you can get that full elbow bend, which is nice. This hand, ball joint, 3 fingers are all articulated, and the thumb is articulated. This hand, this freely spins. It's supposed to mimic the like helicopter motions his claw had in the film, and each finger has 2 digits, so that's good. Torso, like I said, this is a little loose. He can crunch back that far, he can crunch forward that far. I wish he could crunch a little bit more forward, that would have been nice. You do have a waist joint. Hips can go forward that far, back that far, out that far, and then they got drop down hips so they can go out further and they can kick a lot higher if you want them to. Thigh rotation as well. Double jointed knees that are blocked. So at first I thought, oh, is that all his knee bends at? But no, you gotta like bend this panel, and then the knee goes all the way. It actually goes a little bit further. This piston over here actually articulates. So you pull this section down and then you bend it. It only gives you 90 because of this panel, but like it still works pretty fine for me anyways. Missing knee pad. And the feet can go down. This panel can move out of the way. They can go up that far. You do have swivel, ankle pivot, and a toe bend. So Scourge is very, very posable in comparison to Cheetor, who I would have thought would have been the other way around, but hey, they knew they were going to sell more Scourges, so they made Scourge as posable as possible. Cheetor's cool. I like him. He just is a little bit overshadowed by this magnificent beast here, and then here's Prime, and then here's B, and then here's Monkey. That's all of them so far. Rhinox is not coming out till February, I believe, so we'll have to wait. But yeah, these are cool. So yeah, for the 31 bucks, this is a bargain for what you're getting. Part of that bargain is you assembling it and them not having to pay an engineer to make a transformation. But again, these these aren't quote unquote model kits either. They're more like a Bionicle and less like a Gunpla. You're not cutting bits off runners. You're just plugging limbs in and armor pieces on. But do I recommend them? Absolutely. Both of these are fantastic and feel great, pose great, and you won't have a missing knee pad like me. Because, like I said, all my buddies aren't missing theirs. I think they knocked these out of the park again. Though I wish Scourge had a couple extra things included because he's the main villain. Would have been really nice to see a spare chest plate, spare hand, and like the other infection arm cannon thing. That would have been cool, the thing he shoots air razor with. But hey, Yolopark has a habit of including things they forgot with other toys. So who knows, maybe we'll get more Scourge accessories soon. But that's my look at Yolopark, Scourge, and Cheetor. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.